So, Stand Against Evil has gone to a lot of really crazy places. Now we've time traveled. Where do we go from here?
Well, the name of the first episode of the third season is Hell is What You Make It. And so that kind of defines what the characters are doing. They're in their own hell, and euphemistically and really. And so at the end of that, if they can chart their course through their own hells, they'll make it back to this world. And that sounds a little esoteric, but that's actually what happens.
You've had an eclectic career in terms of the roles that you've taken. What is it about this character that challenges you as an actor in a way that you haven't been challenged before?
Writers can write damaged characters, and so when Dana brought me this, I said, "Hey, I want to be one of the producers on this because I want to shape it, because the tone is so specific." So in other words, is comedy hard? But what that means is that on that spectrum, one end is Scooby-Doo, which is funny but not scary, and the other end is The Exorcist or Seven, which is scary but you can't break a joke. And so right in the middle there is Stan. And how do you not denudor the monsters and still break a joke, but make the jokes funny, but make the monsters scary? It's freaking hard.
Yeah.
And so that's what Dana and I are trying to do. And every season we learn more and more about how you can sprinkle the jokes in, but keep the monsters scary. Because there's people at the con who want the monsters scary. It's all practical. There's very little. We don't have enough money for computer-generated stuff, so we have these stop-action motion actors who come in and these CG. They put the dots on. And Stan, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You sit in makeup for 6 hours, get all these appliances put on, and they come and they're astonishing. And then they're scary.
Yeah. Are you listening to the fans? Do you and Dana listen to what they're saying, what they're asking for, and changing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dana more than me because he's better at it. But I've always listened to people because I was just a kind of a working actor for 20 years, and then kind of Scrubs came along. Well, I mean Platoon and that stuff, but still you're just working. And Seven, you're working. The Rock, you're part of it, but you're just working.
Yeah.
And so none of the intrinsic value of fan input isn't lost on me because it didn't happen till late. So this is all easily assimilated. We can't always execute it, but we try to assimilate it.
The fans are going back to Season 2 to catch up for Season 3. What are some of the little Easter eggs or the interesting things hidden within the show that maybe if you've already seen the episodes, you can go back and look for?
That's a Dana question. That's definitely a Dana question. Because we're cutting Season 3 right now, and I swear to you, I feel like a thoroughbred at the Kentucky Derby with blinders on. There's nothing else I can think about. We just finished the third episode. We start 304 this week, and I think you have to just stay in it. That has to be all that matters. Because we did Season 2. We felt like it was better than Season 1. Season 3 is infinitely better than Season 2, because if you're agile enough to be able to see the mistakes or what maybe you could have done on a shoestring budget better. I mean, anybody could say you could do it better if you had another $3 million.
Right.
We don't, so that's not really valid. And so it's like, what could we have done better? Each episode, we shoot 8 episodes in 5 weeks, so that's about 3 days an episode. Scrubs was 6 days an episode, and for millions of dollars. This is not millions of dollars. The actors have to show up and nail it. Not that they can have as many takes as they want. Most of them want 2 or 3 takes because they got it and we're moving on. We're not doing 20 takes, but you can have 5 or 6. You can have whatever you want. That's never what kills the pace of a set. What kills the pace of the set is putting the lights in and getting the makeup on and having the cast and crew move from this room to the hallway shot. That move is what costs you. Once you get there, if the actors want an extra take, you can have as many takes as you want. It's a conventional wisdom that's wrong. That's not what people go, what do you only do, 2 or 3 takes? Yeah, because the actors nailed it.
Right.
If you want it to be an exercise in redundancy and people adding all this superfluous stuff, then sure, do 20 takes. You got it in 3. That's largely the pace of shooting on Stan.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. I've been such a big fan.
Cheers. Thanks, brother.
Pleasure to meet you. Stemming from the previous conversation, we talked so much about your uncomfortable pants.
Yes.
Any movement in getting you a more flexible fabric?
I will say the pants have remained the same.
Yeah.
From season 1, they were my same pants. A lady likes that she still fits into them.
Right, okay.
But Dana took, I think, so much pity on me that season 2 he gave me a lot more civilian clothes, and in season 3, not only do I get more regular civilian clothes, but I also get to really stretch my wings and be some other people, in a sense.
Oh,
in a sense.
Interesting.
So I would say overwhelmingly less uncomfortable pants this season.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
It's been on my mind for a year.
Happy to report.
So the evolution of the relationship between Stan and Evie is, the relationship's always a little rocky.
Yeah.
Where do you hope this goes in season 3 after what we've seen in season 2?
Yeah. Well, I think, it really is kind of that, like, how many times does someone have to save your life before you acknowledge that they're part of your family in a way? And so I think you see it. You see the readiness on both their parts to kind of get to that place quicker, to kind of get to the place of being grateful for one another quicker. I don't know that necessarily means she's any less exasperated by him overall. But again, that's sort of like family, right? It's like the difference between being exasperated with someone that you think, like, I should just walk away from this person, and being exasperated with someone that underneath you're like, but help me, I love them, you know? So I think there's more of that.
You guys always have such great guest stars on the series.
Yeah.
Can you give me a hint at who's coming up for season 3?
Oh, definitely. We have the triumphant return of David Koechner, who plays my ex-husband Kenny. We have Scott Adsit from Big Hero 6 and 30 Rock. We have Christopher Mintz-Plasse from many things, including like
McLovin.
McLovin, Kick-Ass. He's amazing. We have Eddie Pepitone, who's a fantastic comedian and who pops up in a lot of stuff. He's great. We have so many people. Matt Bronger, Maria Bamford, a lot of our comedian friends who are also wonderful actors. So Maria Bamford, Lady Dynamite, and tons and tons of stand-up specials and stuff. So we definitely have like an amazing crew. It was every week we were like, oh, I'm so excited, so-and-so's going to be here, and then we were sad when they left, and then the next guest star would come in that we were really excited about.
Is that like a weird thing about having a TV show that's relatively small like this, that you can just bring your friends in to like guest star on it? Is that awesome?
It's so great. It's so great. It really is, because we're a family anyway, and so when we bring in yet another person that someone has a connection to, or more than one person have connections to, it just makes that family feel even bigger, and it's a total blast. And there's a shorthand within the cast and crew because we shoot so quickly. I think that person kind of becomes part of the summer camp really quickly.
If fans are watching season 2 back to catch up for season 3, what are some of the little Easter eggs or interesting things they can look for if maybe they've already seen the episodes?
Interesting. Well, I would say as much time as you can spend looking at like the set and things that are written in the set. Our set designer, production designer, Molly Coffey, is brilliant and strange and wonderful, and she makes so many of the things that appear in the show. And so, like in Denise's room, there are just like weird dolls that she made by hand. And anytime there's a poster or a newspaper or a magazine, there's just like joke after joke after joke implanted in those.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first movie that scared you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was scared of a lot of things. Like, I was scared of Morgan Freeman playing Dracula on Electric Company, so, like, scary is relative because I would have to leave the room when he came on. But I definitely saw Poltergeist too young.
Yeah.
It was, like, on cable all the time, and my parents never would have let me watch it, but I was spending the night at someone's house. So that one, and then I was at a slumber party, and my friend's dad was like a huge Hitchcock person, and I was in like 4th grade, maybe, and we were all sleeping in the living room, and he made us watch The Birds. And then my sleeping bag was closest to the fireplace. So all night I was just waiting for birds to come and peck my eyes out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was so nice seeing you again. When you have a sandbox to play in the way you have with this series, can a show like this go too far?
I hope to find out.
Yeah.
We have the craziest episode we've ever done is this season. And it is one of those episodes where I'm like, well, let's see.
Where does it fall in the season?
It's the third episode. It's our Godzilla homage.
Oh, right.
And I think it's great, and I really love it. And I as long as you're sincere, I think you don't jump the shark. And as long as you don't wink and you're all in, I think you can do it. You know, on the Simpsons, people would always say like, "Oh, they went too far. Oh, you can't do far." And no, it doesn't, because the show's sincere, and you go right. You know, the show, the Simpsons did it, the X-Files did it, where you'd have a really great Chris Carter mythology arc episode, and then a hilariously brilliant Darren Morgan standalone Monster of the Week episode. And that's what I try to do on the show.
Okay.
But if we can go too far, I hope I'm the guy that writes it.
Good. You've been in comedy for such a long time now. How have you evolved with the evolution of comedy? How do you stay fresh? And
it's very tricky. You know, I have stuff in my act that I can't do anymore. You know, things change, and I know where it is. But the challenge is to always stay young and fresh and new to it, and to not be afraid to reapproach what you do. And because who cares about what you did last year? It's what you're doing now and what you plan to do next year that matters.
Right.
So I get excited by that. I love the idea that, as a stand-up comedian, the hour I did last year, I put on an album and I can't do it anymore, and I have to start from scratch. That's what keeps it exciting. That's what keeps it exciting. And I think that if there's anything that I have learned, it's to play with smaller moments more, and I do that in the stand, and I do that in my own personal performing. It's just to trust the quiet moments and the small moments. And you know, there's David Koechner is in an episode this year, and at one point he just does a thing with his face. He doesn't even say anything, and it's the funniest thing in the world. You know, it's just like trusting to let that stuff happen.
John and I were talking a little bit about listening to the fans of this show and what they want.
Yeah.
Tell me about that process. You follow, God forbid, Twitter and Facebook.
No, I do.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the fans, and you love it that people like your show and they want a T-shirt or whatever. That's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And they're terrific people. But you can't be too slavish in the sense that I want to keep challenging the fans. I think I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I think that when the air started to go out of the Star Trek feature franchise is when they just became this kabuki theater of the fans were like, I want this to happen, this to happen, this to happen. I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. And then it's just like there's no reason to do it.
Yeah.
You got to keep surprising them.
If fans are watching season 2 of Stand Against Evil back to catch up for season 3, what are some, if you've already seen the episodes, what are little things you can look out for, little Easter eggs or hidden things that you love about it to give it a new, fresh experience?
Well, in season 2, you don't need to have seen season 2 to enjoy season 3, but if you're watching season 2, pay very close attention to Gerard Duquette and the deal that Stan makes, because that carries you all through season 3.
Perfect.
Stan is one of those people that will, here's Stan's problem. If he has termites, he'll burn down his house. Yes, you solved the termite problem, but now you have a bigger problem.
Right.
That's Stan.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Just say Comic-Con into your Xfinity X1 voice remote to see even more from this year's con.